Hey, folks, we're live.
Hey-o.
We're live. It's good. Okay, all right.
Schnell.
Oh, how's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. We're feeling pretty good. Yeah. Sam is a little tired too, but you know what? This is going to be a high energy show. I'm feeling it.
Woo!
We're not to Ric Flair yet. There is a comic panel page going around because my Facebook, for whatever reason, doesn't show me friends anymore. It just shows me random groups I'm not in, and it's like comic page groups. And there is apparently a comic out right now that is like near the end of all four of the main Green Lantern like runs, and Guy Gardner dies.
Oh.
And there's a flashback, and he's basically calling them the Four Horsemen, like the wrestlers. Yeah. Yeah. So. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Warriors the Bar. Yep. Yep. Also, speaking of superhero stuff, I know of Invincible, and I've read the comic. It's good. It's fine. I haven't watched the newest season. I may be dumb, but the alien race, the Viltrumites, the Viltrum is this part right here on your face. That's why they all have mustaches. Well, sure, yeah, but like that's the Viltrum on your face, and they were named after having mustaches. Yeah. I mean, all words are made up, so yeah,
true.
yeah.
Bye.
Mm-hmm. Cody, when you're done posting the links, you might want to put your mic a little closer to your mouth. Okay. Make sure to turn your head away from the mic when you take a breath. When you breathe in, yeah. Memes. You know, I watched the Weezer Pork and Beans music video the other day.
Oh.
That's the one where they put all of the internet meme guys into it. And you know what? It was good. Part of it was like, you know, the people who were in those memes and were made fun of are kind of taking it back a little bit.
Like. But take their power.
Yeah.
You know, that's all. That's the most positive.
That music video is like the anti-Tosh.0. So have I. We have 2 subscribers today. And in total. Oh, yeah. How about now?
Were they not on?
Mine was on because I did that interview.
Oh,
so
the other words were
so
off
everyone
because they weren't part of it.
Everybody.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you. You just massively saved our asses.
You know what?
On that one.
You know what? Start over.
Start over.
because all the
Ah.
videos have to be the exact same length for the thing to work, and the Regal Cinnamon was like way too
Should
long.
just do
Yeah.
a separate button for that.
I think I might do that.
Yeah,
Hey, we're back.
Hey, we're back.
Hey,
Now with microphones.
we're
that work.
live for the first time today. That other one, don't worry about it.
It didn't count.
It didn't count. I don't even know what you're talking about. What? Anyway,
There is no war in Bossing.
it's a shame because we had some good things we were saying. We were doing a Ric Flair riff. We were talking about other stuff. Yeah. You know what? Let's get some lip readers to see if they can try to, put subtitles in
Get
for
the
what we are.
bad lip reading people.
There we
onto
go.
it.
Yeah.
Now I'm just thinking of Yoda walking on the beach.
Walking on the beach. Yep.
Wrong one.
Cody, your mic still needs to probably
Really?
taller. Yeah, you gotta kind of eat the mic on this. I need to find a better place to put the mic stand.
How about now?
I think that's a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're checking levels real quick. Mine looks pretty good.
Heyo. Yeah.
Yeah, turn
Give
Cody
me
up a
some
little.
more gain in the.
Yeah, I'll give you a little more gain
little
there.
more gain.
Yeah, you get more gain.
It smells fresh.
Get your gains.
Gain.
Get your gains.
Gain.
Gain all
Protein. I got a good roll in that one.
Yeah.
I
Our-
love that bit on The Simpsons where it's just Skinner in front of a vending machine at the laundromat reading the different types
Yes.
of laundry detergent.
All right.
Yes.
Gain, bold, all, tide.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna. You're coming in.
Really?
low, so-
I'm right on it.
So
Does it
here's
need?
what I'm gonna do, so you're not like hunching over.
Wait, I twisted it like this, and now I'm like
You know what?
on
It
the
looks
spot.
Good now. It looks good now. I was
Yeah.
almost gonna tighten and lift it up.
It just
But
needed.
you know what? That's better.
It just needed
That's better.
twisted here.
Yeah, it just needed twisted. Don't get it twisted, except for that one, which you need to
Or the tea
get it
because it's
twisted.
delicious.
Mm-hmm. The twisted tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not much of a tea drinker.
I like tea.
It's okay. It's got alcohol.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start the show here. Just as a reminder, we can't really talk directly to the chat as we're going, but, you know.
We'll try to work
We'll
it
try
in.
to work
if
it
we
in.
Can.
We'll
We
try to
have
work it
we
in.
have before.
Yeah. All right. Who has an intro?
I got a pretty dumb one.
You got a good one?
Yeah.
All right.
No, he said it was a dumb one.
What's the difference?
It might be good. I don't know.
Yep. Give me 2 seconds here. Okay. All right. Anytime, man.
What is the pink track?
That is the intro and outro. I have them
Oh.
muted, so when I go to edit it, I just unmute it and it drops it in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Work smart, not
It's
hard.
that's almost like I'm a audio producer or something.
Huh.
I did a long play earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah. 21 Pilots. Yeah. My dad
Ohio.
my folks, my dad
This is a
especially
really small room to
loves-
fit that many guys in here.
loves
Yeah.
21
yeah,
Pilots.
How'd you get all those guys in here?
I tell you what, it was like a clown car in here. But no, it was. I think
I
it's a
don't
good
have
show.
my long play koozie.
Oh. There you go.
Did you ask
Long
your
play,
dad,
the koozie.
Did you ask your dad about a long play about Can?
I have not yet. He has so many ideas.
He
has so
doesn't
many
need
ideas.
he doesn't need my ideas.
Not yet, but when he has a week that he's yes, but it is going to be coming
Yeah,
up.
the
so.
hamster is a running.
Yeah. All right, ready?
Hey everybody, welcome to Nerd Overload, the pop and geek culture show that misses the days back when C-SPAN wasn't so darn political. I'm Cody.
I'm Sam.
I'm Josh.
I don't know what else to say about
I had nothing.
I told you it was the dumb
That
one.
was a good one. No, it was good. It was good. It was good. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We have a great show for you. We have a bunch of things to go over, and we have our check 'em outs. But first, I want to play an interview that we have. We did another interview with the fine folks at Indiana Comic Convention, which is coming up this coming weekend. And if you're hearing this and you're making the 3-hour drive, come talk to us. We are going to be represented in some capacity there. And I'm actually thinking about making a YouTube video
Oh, that would be
of
sick.
the con.
Yeah.
That would be super
Can you-
sick.
and now that I've said it on the show, it has to happen.
No, that's not true at all.
That's not, no, no,
we've claimed this multiple times, and it does
You
not.
know what? I feel like it's better than just taking a bunch of pictures and just posting it to the Instagram.
okay, you know what? We are bad at social media.
We really are.
Yeah.
I think
If it wasn't for Parker, I think we'd be pretty toast.
Yeah. I don't have time. I don't have time for social media.
I still want to make my pinball YouTube video, which I've written,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
but I need more pinball footage, which
Well,
means I
is
need
there
to
a
Oh,
go-
darn.
wizard?
You're just going to have to go get more pinball footage.
Yeah.
Roll that beautiful pinball footage.
Ding 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 donk donk ding 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 donk donk donk.
I've been having the worst pinball cravings
Oh,
lately
yeah.
too. I want to play pinball so
Have you
bad.
been down to Louis G's in Delaware?
No.
We're narrowcasting right now, but that's fine. It is very good pizza. Everything is horror movie named, and there is like at least 20 pinball machines there. need to go.
Are they free play?
I cannot remember. They may not be, but there are some old vintage ones. I know the new Elvira one is in there. They might have the original Elvira one in there. There is a Beatles,
Oh, sick.
like an old Beatles one, not just
I know they have the Pokemon one, and I want to
They
play
do.
that one
Wait, you
so
said
bad.
you said this was a horror place in Delaware?
yeah. So it's on South Sandusky. You know where the old Big Lots are, very close to
Oh.
Ohio Wesleyan.
On the
Isn't
south, on the south end, or
Isn't it
on the south
where
end,
like
right.
the Friendlies used to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
It
what
was
I thought.
it was the old Friendlies, but the pizza. Ew. I need to go back. Anyway, interview.
Yes.
Interview. Here we go. All right, so we are back again with an update from Indiana Comic Convention. We have Dan Farr, who is a show producer with the convention. The convention is running June 5th through 7th. Dan, thank you very much for taking the time.
Hey, thank you so much for having me be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had Chelsea on about a month or so ago to kind of discuss kind of in general some of the highlights of the con and everything. But we're not going to beat around the bush here today. You guys announced something on Saturday that was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, we are so excited about Nicolas Cage. He, boy, the more we looked into it, the more we realized how many amazing film properties he's been a part of. There's just so many. It's like, it's not like a traditional like Star Wars guest or someone like that you have maybe a handful of things that they're involved in, where Nicolas Cage is just involved in so many just blockbuster properties.
Oh, absolutely. And it's perfect timing because his show for Amazon Prime, Spider Noir just
Yes.
dropped last week. So this is an amazing get. So how, from what I understand, this is his first U.S. Convention appearance. Is that correct?
That's what we understand as well. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
We're not aware of any other, fan convention. He may have done like a press related to like a San Diego convention or something like that. But, the conventions where the celebrities get to go in and the fans can come and meet them in person, get a photo op, an autograph. That's the type of convention we're talking about.
So I'm curious, how long has this been in the works? I know it was just announced Saturday, but this past Saturday. How long from the initial, idea that, hey, maybe we can get Nick Cage on here to the official announcement?
This is a rare situation where, his name's come up over a long period of times, and we always look into him and wanted him one way or the other, and he just really hasn't been available So in this situation we just thought we'd take a fresh run at it. I think it was just 2 weeks ago. We thought, let's just try again. And it came together. And that's the one thing about a busy actor. Many times they can't tell you very far ahead of time what their schedule is. And so it was really random and lucky, I think, that it worked out so quickly, because typically these deals don't happen like that. Typically it takes months to lock in a celebrity at his level. And, in this case, it just came together. Everybody had to work overtime to make it happen this quickly, but it did. It's kind of magic moment.
Yeah, this is kind of like a perfect storm of everything kind of coming together at the, I guess relatively at the last minute, in a good way, So you guys reached out to him. I guess, I don't know, how did he decide Indiana Comic Convention will be the first one that I attend?
Well, I do think that there's so much serendipity involved here. I did hear, he did do a convention in Japan, so I think that was maybe his first fan convention. I think maybe end of last year, I think, or it was within the last year or so. So he did have an experience doing that. So I think that kind of warmed the waters a little bit for him. But I do think the fact that he's an executive producer on Spider Noir and the timing of that relative to our convention dates, and the fact that we reached out when we did, I think there's just a lot of serendipity that took place that we couldn't necessarily have planned ahead of time. And the more I've learned about Nick, realize that he's actually kind of a fan of comics, and he is a fan of this genre. And so I think he probably just, all those things came in together, like, yeah, this actually sounds fun and interesting. So I'd like to do it in addition to promoting the new series. And, so I think all those things just kind of came together, the perfect storm. Now we have an agent that is also a writer, and one of his writing partners or people he works with is also represented by the same manager as Nick. So he went through his contact there and reached out to the manager, and the manager got Nick on the phone, said, "Hey, let's talk about this." And it all just came together just pretty amazingly well.
Wow. That is serendipity. That is a perfect way to kind of describe how this happened. I imagine that a lot of the fans are really, really clamoring, really, really excited to pre-order their passes, their way to get to meet Nick and get photographs, autographs, that sort of thing. What is the process that the fans can go through in order to kind of secure their way to meet Mr. Cage?
The best thing is to go to indianacomicconvention.com. And if you go there, you can read about the options, and so people can decide to get a photo op with them, which is probably the best thing. The photo op is priced pretty competitively relative to what people generally pay for a high level celebrity like this, because we price it that way because it is a good way to get in and get a quick get to see him in person, but you get a photo to commemorate it. One thing I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand with a celebrity at this level, it's not really a chance to have a meet and greet every time. They're going to see so many people, so they get just a smile and a hello and get a photo, and that's basically what's going to happen. And so if you go to the website, you can pre-order a pro photo, or you can order an opportunity to buy an autograph. And there's two options on that. One is we can get one that he's signing on site, but it's not necessarily, you don't have to stand in line to meet him. You can choose from a selection that we'll have available. Or if you do want to wait in line, it's going to cost you more money to get something signed in person, but then you can bring in like a Funko Pop or 11 by 14 or even a little poster or something, some sort of memorabilia, and you can get that signed.
I kind of want to keep talking about Nick Cage, but I do want to ask a couple more questions about the convention itself. Are there any other recent developments, additions to the convention? I know that you have the gaming area, that you have, of course, the vendor hall and everything, the cosplay and all that. Have there been any other developments, different panels or anything like that going on?
There is a really an amazing selection of panels, and the best way to see what those are is going to the website and reading about that. And our programming director has really worked with a lot of local talent there in Indianapolis to get some good content. I think he's working with one or two of the universities there, and they're providing some people to talk about different topics and make some fun content. So people are going to like that. The thing about these conventions is, it's not one of those things that you just go and you show up for a couple hours and you leave. It's something that we have so much content available there, and with all the vendors that are coming in from all over the country, plus all the celebrities, we have probably approaching 60 celebrities for the show. With all of that, you really can't get everything done in a day or two. That's why, the 3-day event, you want to go for 3 days and experience the whole thing, if possible, but because there is so much there for you. So I would say, yeah, from that standpoint, we do on the celebrities, we do, I don't know how many of the celebrities you've covered in the past, but, people like Gene Simmons, who is a rock legend. It's just even having Gene come into the show is, it's not like he's done hundreds of these shows. He's maybe done a handful of them in his career. And so that's kind of a big deal. The boys, for the leads from Vampire Diaries, they're really exciting. Then we have a lot of exciting voice actors, and from some of the more popular video games and series, animation series. And so it's really, the lineup is very broad group of people to choose from.
I've been kind of following the kind of updates here and there of the celebrities as they've been added, and it's like every single one is just it's a home run, really. And I'll tell you what, this is no joke. I go to quite a few conventions throughout the year. Yours is the only one that I make a point to have multiple days. Most conventions I try to do, one day, kind of in and out, kind of check everything out. Indiana Comic Convention, this is one that I make a point. We're going to do multiple days. So that really goes to show how great this convention is.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the support. That's really fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, again, I don't want to take up too much of your time because, convention is going to be in 5 days. So before we let you go, do you have any last plugs for the convention? Anything else you want to mention to our audience?
Well, the thing that's fun about these is every experience, even if you've been last year or the year before, it just organically morphs into something different, because the vendors are always different. The programming's different. The celebrity lineup is different. It just, there's no way you can say, well, I experienced it last year, I'm going to experience the same thing this year. It's always different. And the other thing too is that if you've never experienced one, it's something you have to at least experience once, because it is it's hard to explain what these conventions are like unless you've done it yourself. When I got into this and I was looking at doing a convention, when I started the one in Salt Lake in 2013, I'd have a lot of people ask me what it was, and I said, I can't really explain it, but the energy, it's almost like you can cut the energy in the air with a knife, because people are so excited. They get so excited about the properties that mean something to them, the pop culture properties that are, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek or Harry Potter, you just go down the list. People get so excited about these properties, and it means so much to them. And you can just feel that energy as you walk around. You see all the fans that have come in the cosplay that they've been working on for months and maybe even years, perfecting the costume. and they're in character and they're just having a good time and they're doing photos. I'll tell this, I say this to a lot of people that haven't been before. They'll ask, hey, do I need to dress up to go? It's like, no, you don't have to, but you can. But just be prepared. If you do a really nice cosplay, you're going to be asked to do photos all the time, and you're not going to be able to get around and see the convention as much as you want to, because people are going to stop you every 5 minutes. I mean, every 5 steps and ask for a photo.
I know that firsthand. I've gone to the convention in costume a couple years. I'm going this year in costume. It's one of the best ways to go. And just a really short anecdote going with everybody should experience the convention once. A few years ago, I took my dad to a comic convention. He had been into the pop culture stuff. He had grown up watching Batman, the Adam West and Burt Ward series, but you can't explain the excitement and the energy just being in a hall where everyone is having a great time because everyone is there to enjoy themselves, to have a good, everyone's there for the same reason. And it's just one of the best feelings in the world to just walk around and just feel that positive energy. It's great. It really is great.
No, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, it is just a phenomenal experience. And well, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Dan Farr, I really appreciate you coming on. Again, Indiana Comic Convention is this coming weekend, June 5th through 7th at the Indiana Convention Center. And again, thank you very much for taking the time.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, that was Dan Farr with Indiana Comic Con. Appreciate him coming on to the show. And and hey, listen, if you're listening and you're making the drive, we're going to be there. Again, I mentioned it once.
You're going to be there.
I'm going to be there.
You're going to be there.
Frequent guest of the show, Jordan's going to be there. And we're going to be taking pictures and videos. So come on up. Say hello. We'll have stickers. I actually got a rush order on stickers.
Good
I
idea.
was going to say, do we have an updated business card? With a QR code that works?
To be continued.
Okay. All right.
I have an idea. We're gonna see if it works.
Okay.
All right.
Because my sister has also been telling me about it.
Yeah, I will. We have. Well, this is off the show talk.
Yes.
But okay. Well, now that we've done the interview, let's go ahead and get into the show proper. Let's talk about our check 'em outs.
Check it out!
Someday I should animate us like little cartoons of us dancing during the check 'em out song.
You need to make it old school so we could be like the let's all go to the lobby guys.
Yes.
Rubber hose. Like,
Yes.
I have Flash character models of you and me, and I haven't done you yet.
Yeah, that's fair. That
All
makes
right.
sense. That tracks. No, I'm joking. All right, so we have check 'em outs here. You know what? I have just one quick one. I mean, I could talk about how I rewatched a couple of movie musicals the other day, but I'm not going to get into that. Oddly enough, I do like a musical.
I like a musical.
Oh,
I
yeah,
also
musical.
enjoy a musical.
I rewatched The Greatest Showman and rewatched Chicago.
Favorite musical of all time.
Oh, that is a tough one. Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is Little
Yeah.
Shop.
Although Phantom, the classic Phantom of the Opera,
Phantom
also
is
very
good.
I don't remember the last time I watched Phantom, honestly.
Yeah.
Um.
Gerard Butler does not sing especially well in that in the most recent one.
Oh, I forgot he was even in that.
Yeah, he was the Phantom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the one I even brought paper so I can remember. The one thing that I checked out this past week, or I guess a couple weeks ago, the Ohio State University, or I guess I should say the Ohio State University.
I think they sue you if you say the.
But come at me. Come at me. No, their arts department has reopened the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library
you
Museum.
You went to the Billy Ireland Museum.
Yeah,
I've wanted to go there
Oh,
so bad.
It is so freaking cool. They have original art from comic strips, comic books, indie stuff, Marvel DC stuff. There's some original Peanuts in there.
Oh,
there's
man.
there's multiple original Garfields. And it's really, really fascinating. Like, it takes you through and talks about each step of the process while also talking about the various comics and stuff. I think there's an old Nancy and a new Nancy in there, and the jokes are way wilder.
Oh, I bet.
The Ernie Bushmiller Nancys are some of the funniest
They
stuff.
are really good.
He's so meta. Like,
Mhm.
even for back then, it's wildly meta.
It's very yes. But what was fascinating to me. Well, and Jordan went as well. She didn't realize that the originals of newspaper comic strips are done on sheets that are like this. They're huge. They're big. And, I guess in hindsight, it makes sense because you gotta do the art.
Well, the same thing with comic strips or comic pages.
Oh yeah,
They're like a.
they're about 1.5 times a regular comic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it was also interesting. You could see where they used whiteout, and you could see on some of them, especially the Garfield ones, they use the blue pencil that doesn't show up when you're photocopying to correct things here and there. And
I might still have one of those blue pencils laying around
Nice.
somewhere
Nice.
from my graphic design days.
Yeah, I bought one once and then never used it.
I think I had to get one for a class. You could see how. I think I had to get one for a class. Yeah, and no, it was really, really cool. Like, there was one comic, I forget which one it was. It was an old one, but they shaded it with Zipatone, like the dots. And you could see where the artist, like, took a Zipatone page and meticulously cut out the outline of the spots of the characters on the strip and pasted it onto the strip so that he didn't have to, like, draw the dots one by one or anything like that. The whole thing was really, really cool. And it's free to get in. So, everybody
Man.
wins.
Young me would have loved this because my senior project was about comic strips and cartooning comics.
Yeah. I wish this was around when I was a kid as
This
well.
sounds like I'll go there and then I'll come out and then I'll have to draw a comic.
Yeah. They had a well, Jordan and I did it, but it was a children's light box with a bunch of single panels from various comics so you can, light box over it and stuff like that.
Light box your own Garfield.
Yeah. Well, I did Peanuts, and Jordan did. I don't know what comic it was, but it was a chicken with a big sound effect in the background that went choom, and she thought choom was very, very funny. They even had an old animator's easel, animator's desk
cool.
with the light behind it and the pegs for the cells.
Yeah.
And they had a reel on a TV rolling, talking about the Disney way of doing animation back in the way
You mean when they did rotoscoping?
yeah, well, rotoscoping and
They did all kinds of wild stuff,
the
yeah.
multiple pane kind of
Yeah, the
Yeah.
layered.
Yeah.
panes and stuff. Yeah, if you get a chance, again, it's free. You can just walk in there. They had free cookies because they just opened it. I had a very good chocolate chip cookie and looked at a lot of comic book pages. It was very good. There's some John Byrne comic pages in there. A couple of
Any Kirby's?
I think they're not originals, but
He's referenced at least.
yeah, I think it was a copy, but it was of the full size of the art. I don't think
Okay.
there were.
Did they have any Bill Watterson out?
There was an entire section of Bill Watterson.
Oh, nice.
There was an entire section of
Nice.
Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah, and
Because
it's
he's
like,
an Ohio guy,
He
if you
is.
can find him.
oh yeah, there's a whole like section where they had up on the wall like the different comic strips, and each one had like a bit of his biography, or as much of a biography you can get
Out
from
of
him,
him.
because
Yeah.
He once painted the Sistine Chapel on the ceiling of his college dorm room.
that's
And I
Nuts.
believe he went to Kenyon.
yeah. I hope they left it.
They probably
They
did.
probably
They should have.
They should have. They
'Cause
should
I
have.
would love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if they would have cut out like the ceiling and just replaced it and kept it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that would be, yeah. But no, if you get a chance and you have, I mean, we were there for about 45 minutes or so.
Okay.
And yeah,
That
absolutely,
sounds
absolutely
like
worth
the
it.
Star Trek exhibit I went to in Lancaster. Like last
Oh,
year,
sure. Yeah.
where they had a bunch of costumes and stuff.
Mhm.
Mostly from the J.J. Abrams stuff.
The J.J. Abrams. Yeah.
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 The Kelvin universe.
Yeah,
Starbase Columbus?
No. And actually, that's not even a thing anymore.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
It was worth going there to sit in the captain's chair. And
That
get
was
a
cool.
the
picture.
guy
That was cool.
The guy that bought all the stuff has a shop set up in Sandusky. Really
Yeah,
rad.
in the mall.
Yeah, and we actually just moved to a new location, and he's erecting like a museum.
Oh, cool.
Like he even has like one of the studio models of one
oh,
of the
really?
ships.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they were restoring it.
Oh, right on.
Last time I saw.
Right on. That's really cool.
But
Well, that's my check-em.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I do wish to piggyback on your thing. I
Mhm.
kind of wish I would have went to the CCAD thing when Jonan Vasquez was there.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Cartoon Crossroads.
Like last
Yeah.
year or something
Yeah.
like that. I was like, man, I have this John the Homicidal Maniac comic just sitting here, and he probably wouldn't have signed it, but it would have been nice to try.
He performs as a curmudgeon, but he's a nice
He's
enough
a
dude.
decent guy.
He's a decent enough.
Too bad.
dude.
Too bad. Every con
He
he
gets
comes
it.
to, he's right next to Richard Horvitz, and it's pandemonium just to get close.
Yeah.
Check'ems.
Check'ems.
I have a bunch.
Yeah, let's
I watched
hear
a
it.
couple movies. I've played a lot of different games.
Okay.
I probably put the most time in for somehow into the new Lego Batman.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard very good things.
It rules. It's very good.
I also read that Rocksteady co-developed it, and that's why there's so much Arkham DNA in it.
Well, yeah, because it has Arkham Combat.
Okay.
It's
oh, wow.
it's just a kids game version of it, so it's really easy.
Wow.
I should probably turn up the difficulty. I have it on normal, and I think I've maybe died once, and it was just like an accident.
But with Lego games, you just play them. You don't need
Yeah,
to. Yeah.
that's true. And there's still like the Lego game puzzles that you have to solve, and I like
sure.
those.
Yeah.
Like,
Please tell me there aren't Riddler trophies.
well, they're not called Riddler trophies, but it's the same concept. They're like Riddler puzzle boxes that you have to do little puzzles hidden around Gotham, the open world map, and there's Riddler puzzle boxes,
Mhm.
and there's Clue Master puzzle
Oh, really?
boxes,
Clue Master.
which I
wow.
was not aware of that character, but
Yeah.
I am aware of that character, but he's almost never really used.
No. They're digging deep. They're digging
Yeah,
deep.
they really are.
That's great.
That's like some Condiment King level
Oh,
stuff.
man.
he's in it.
Yeah.
Kite
good.
Man's in it.
Hell yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
that
the same.
show is great.
It's not the
Great
same
show.
voice actor. I was disappointed it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Oh,
But they do, when he shows up, every level has like a subtitle, and for the one where he shows up, it said "Kite Man." Heck yeah!
Okay. Yeah. That's good. Yep. They understand. They
And
get it.
also, every level has like the mini kits, kind
Yeah.
of from the other game, but they're not. They're slightly different. They're an object you have to destroy,
Oh.
and there's
okay.
5 of them in each level. And the one for Poison Ivy is a Venus flytrap, but once you get them all, it unlocks a statue of a plant that looks suspiciously like Frank from Harley Quinn.
from the Harley Quinn
Yeah.
show on
It
HBO.
doesn't say it's
Sure,
Frank.
legally distinct Frank
Yeah.
from the Harley Quinn show. Yeah. Cool.
Does he have plant cheeks?
No,
Ah.
but he's got the stalks with
With the eyeballs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Oh, that's awesome.
Can't tell it's him. He's not swearing.
Yeah. But it's like a celebration of every different Batman that there is. It's very rooted in the Batman, the most recent movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it does a little bit of everything. Like the first version of Joker that you go up against is the Batman 89 Batman Joker.
Cool.
Oh,
Okay.
They do the museum sequence where they're
Oh.
defacing paintings.
Yeah.
My
Party
fav-
Man plays in the background.
They actually play Party
They
Man?
play Party Man.
No way.
Yeah. They licensed Party Man.
Wow.
And it's diegetic in the level, just like it's diegetic in the movie. It's coming from
Whoa.
boom boxes. That's your item you have to destroy for that level.
That is super awesome, and also streamer dynamite.
Yeah.
That,
he
well,
does
a
the
lot of
parade, and he does the hubba money.
Oh,
Like,
does he pull out the
the long
giant, the very
pistol?
long gun to blow up the bat
the-
plane?
The Batplane doesn't show up, but
Okay.
he does have a very long gun, and
Okay.
it does a bang flag.
Nice.
But then after you beat him, he falls down off of a big cake and lands on the ground face first, and then he pulls his face up, and now he's Heath Ledger Joker.
Oh wow. Okay. Now
So they're just rolling everything in, and it's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. The question is, will they all of a sudden show Cesar Romero Joker from Batman 66?
I've unlocked the Batman 66 Batmobile.
Oh, good.
And
the best Batmobile.
The Batgirl goofy motorcycle.
Oh yeah, the
purple motorcycle,
the sparkly one. Yeah.
I like how it, because in Lego games you always have two characters all the time.
Mm-hmm.
In this one of them is always Batman.
Okay.
And then the other one is whatever sidekick is with him at that time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it starts out, the first one's Commissioner Gordon.
Okay.
And then it's Catwoman for a while, and their Catwoman is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets her own kind of like thievery levels.
Oh, that's cool.
Around the map.
Yeah. Can you go back in for like free play and then just pick whoever? Like in the other Lego games?
I'm assuming later they'll open that ability up, but so far you can't go back into the other levels.
Really?
Oh, so it's like you got to find everything while you're there, kind of thing.
Well, yeah.
Or you have to replay the level, but you can't have free play where you just run around.
Yeah. I'm assuming the ability to go back and play old levels will come back later.
Well, yeah, because that's the whole point. Because that's the whole point in every Lego game is you unlock all these characters that have different abilities.
It doesn't do that.
Oh.
You can get everything in the levels
that you need as you go. Wow, interesting.
Which I hated that. I hated that in the other Lego games where it's like,
go back.
Here's a little thing that you have to play this whole stupid level over again so you can get one thing.
Yeah, make sure you come back with
somebody who can go an event or somebody who can blow up a silver thing. It doesn't do that.
You got to go get Tiny Kong and make her small.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that's coming to the Nintendo Switch.
It's still easier to play it other means because they add the D-pad support so that you can auto switch.
That's not the intended design.
I know, but listen, it makes it so much better. I
mean, I'm gonna play this game, but I also know it's one of the worst ones because it's this mini game after mini game.
Oh, it's collectathon.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But Lego Batman, yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Find it any way you can.
Excellent.
I have
very good.
also played a video game that I have never played before. It is called Outlast Trials. It is a horror video game that you can play online with your friends.
Okay.
So I guess the elevator pitch of this is, I don't know if it's connected to the other two Outlast games or not. I've never played them, so I don't know. I just know this is the third one. This is the first one that has like online play. But you are a subject in a experiment or something. Apparently you were a bad person, and this is how you basically win your freedom.
Okay.
Kinda.
It's a Running Man.
Kinda, except it's not. You're not being televised. You're being observed by scientists.
By a pervert. Oh, perverts.
Pervert scientists.
Okay.
So it's Manhunt?
I mean, I'm sure there's pervert
Heavy
scientists.
Metal.
Like, this game is gross.
No, not Heavy Metal. Twisted Metal. That's the one. You're trying to win a thing.
Yeah, kind of.
That's what
Yeah. But it's kind of like Dead by Daylight in a way where you have to survive and you can't really fight back that much.
Okay, is it an asymmetrical thing where one player is the bad guy? Okay.
All the monsters, which are, I mean, yeah, they're pretty monstrous, but they're technically people.
Okay.
They're called prime assets. But they they're all game controlled. They're not like
a
player.
Okay, gotcha.
But you can play up to like 4 friends, and there's like a lobby where you can hang out with other players and stuff and do like arm wrestling and chess and pong and just weird stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I dig it.
But you can get like different skins and whatnot to make your character just look kind of goofy. I am currently a spaceman.
Good.
But you can level up your character and kind of, I don't know, tweak your, whatever stats or whatever abilities you want to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
You get this thing on your chest called a rig, and different rigs do different things. I have a healing rig because it's, the most useful.
The most useful is the one that teams up with Murtaugh.
I got it. I got that joke.
I've seen that movie. I have seen that movie.
You have seen that movie.
I'm too old for
I
this
recognize
stuff.
that
Yes.
reference.
I'm too old for this stuff.
I would be remiss if I did not talk about Mandalorian and Grogu, which
Do it.
I did see.
Yeah, don't spoil it, but do it.
It's good.
And
It's good?
And you didn't invite us.
Sorry, I went with my mom.
We like your mom too.
It's true.
Yeah, so it was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's not groundbreaking in style or substance or writing. Like they're not like breaking new ground. Broke new ground. No, it's not like making huge revelations about the plot of Mandalorian.
Is it like just a longer episode,
Yes.
basically?
Or
And
maybe,
that's- and
or
there's-
may, or
and
may,
that's fine.
or maybe just a season as a movie.
Yeah, I mean it could like a
Either way.
condensed season, but it's like 4 episodes of the show.
Oh, that's
That's
fine.
a continuing story, and it was good. It was fun. It was good.
Do other past Mandalorian characters pop up?
No,
No.
not really.
So we don't get like a Bo-Katan or the
No.
armor or anything
Nope.
like that.
None of that.
But you do get Jacked the Hutt, right?
Yes, you get Rada the Hutt.
Which he's
Yeah.
getting his own thing. He's getting his own series.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Huh.
a weird choice, but
Well, isn't
was
that
cool.
Isn't that the bear guy?
yeah.
Well, then that makes sense.
And he was a cool character. It was cool to see a fighting Hutt.
That's cool. Yeah.
And it was just a fun movie. Like, don't go into it expecting, like I said, to learn who Grogu's dad is or whatever. I think that's what people. That's what people.
They
are
want the
upset about,
history
right?
of Grogu.
They
yeah.
want- they
Din
want-
Djarin is Grogu's dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They want secrets to be revealed and have a big Skywalker cameo, and it's like there's none of that.
No.
That's not what The Mandalorian is about.
It's just a fun Star Wars story that happens to be 2 hours long.
And that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
That really does.
It really was. I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of a mark for Mandalorian. Like I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the Boba Fett show. No one liked.
I like the Boba Fett show.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn, but I like the show. And then there's that one whole episode that is basically just an episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, sure.
But this is my favorite kind of Star Wars stuff.
No Jedi.
Yeah.
Just slice it, almost like slice of life, something else, something not Skywalker
Yeah,
related.
I mean the gist of it is Mando is hunting down Imperial
Remnants.
Mhm.
with the New Republic, and this is just happens to be one of those missions that
That's cool.
involves Hutts.
That's cool.
Like,
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
I think I pretty much picked up the gist of the story is he gets captured or something by the Hutts and they take his helmet off and he has to, fulfill the creed or whatever.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, go if you have any inkling to see it, go see it and just expect to have a fun time at the movies, and you will.
Good. That's great. I'm glad it's because I've heard some complaints, but it's the hardcore.
I've seen a lot of people say there's no character development, and that's not entirely true.
Really. Yeah.
It's just subtle.
Yeah.
Also, we've had like 3 seasons to develop these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going into this movie without watching the show, that's on you.
I want to learn who the Mandalorian is. This movie didn't tell me.
Yeah. Like you can tell by the end, and this isn't really
He's Pedro
spoilery.
Pascal.
Yeah, that he's learned to let go of the reins on Grogu a little bit.
Okay.
Like he
Well, that is growth.
yeah.
Not being so much of a helicopter parent.
Yes, exactly. And I
Gotcha.
think that counts as growth.
That is growth.
That is character growth.
That is absolutely
Grogu-
that
Growth
counts.
goo.
Grogu doesn't grow a lot, but I think they've really written themselves into a corner with Grogu.
Yeah.
Because if you give him too much, like, agency, he isn't that like little creature you can project whatever you want onto anymore, which is I think is why people like him so much.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's also cute.
yeah.
Also, it's not like you can ever see teenage Grogu in these movies because
He
They
ages
age
so
so
slowly.
slow. That's another thing. He ages so slow.
they'd have to make a 200 or 250 year time jump just to see him as.
and everyone in the show will be gone.
Yeah,
as-
which is
as-
something that
yeah.
they kind of touch on too, and you can tell that
that Mando won't
that
be
Mando
around forever.
is thinking about the fact that he's not going to be there forever because he grows so much slower than
And
Mando
he's still
does.
going to be a baby when
Yeah.
He's been
when
a
Mando
baby
is
for 30 years.
50. He's 50.
Well, yeah, but
Mando's 50? Or
No,
Grogu's 50.
Grogu's
yeah, Grogu's well at the beginning of the Mandalorian show when they find Grogu, IG-11 says he's like about 50
When
years
Werner
old.
Herzog said he wanted to
see the baby.
see the child. Yes.
I wants to see
But
the baby.
It was a great movie. I really liked it.
Well, good. Good. I'm glad.
Go see it. Go see it with no preconceived notions. Be normal and go. Be normal and go see a movie.
There we go. Yep. Yeah.
You can put that on the poster.
It doesn't
That
need to be a
is-
think piece.
Because that is an impossible. That is an impossible
And this is
task.
coming from the guy that rails on the Mario movie for not being more, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is. There is stuff there if you are paying attention.
If you're looking for it, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I saw that Zeb from Rebels is in it, and I'm pretty excited about
Yeah,
that.
he's in it a decent amount.
Cool.
That's good. Is it Steve Bloom voicing
Yes, it
the
is.
character?
It
Good,
is.
Good.
Awesome.
Good.
All right. Well, hey, let's go ahead and jump over to some news.
Movies and be normal.
Yeah, we have 20 minutes of the show left.
We gotta
Oh.
talk about
Yeah.
Lego.
Listen, here's the deal. We got to switch over to the news because we got to talk about a Lego scandal.
Yeah.
This
Cody,
this is hot big news.
You brought this to the table.
Yeah,
and
because
so-
I've watched like over 3 hours of YouTube content about this.
oh, good
So,
lord!
okay.
You are an informed
You're
individual.
an expert.
I guess I'll give the quick pitch
The
on what
rundown.
is going down. The rundown. So
That's
there
an
was
okay
this
movie.
guy. I think his name. I forget the guy's name. Brian. It was
Brian.
Brian, who his dad had.
Brian
collected-
Legoman.
Brian Legoman. His dad had collected $200,000 worth of Star Wars Lego since the creation of Star Wars
Star
Lego.
Wars Lego,
which
yeah.
is like the year 2000, about when Episode 1 came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's getting old and there's medical bills and stuff, so Brian decides it's time to sell the Lego.
Mhm.
So he goes to Bricks and Minifigs, which is a huge
Resell chain.
resale chain. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
more than one.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually like 3 in Columbus, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I only go to that one on Polaris that I think is.
I don't think it's there anymore.
It's not.
It's not there anymore.
Oh.
But he takes the Lego to Bricks and Minifigs, makes a deal with the current owners to sell it on consignment.
And that's the important part. It's on
Yeah.
consignment. He didn't just outright sell it to the store.
like he's
It's still legally his stuff.
They're just the outlet to which they can sell it.
Because
Yeah.
when you first started talking about that, before we watched that video about it, that's what I was kind of hung up on. I was like, well, if he gave the Legos to the store, then it's
But no, they're on consignment.
on consignment.
The
Yeah,
store only
yeah.
gets like
35%.
30. Yeah,
It was a
35%.
65-35 split.
Yeah.
which is still kind of crummy, but
That's what you
but
get.
then again,
with
it's
those kind of-
$200,000 worth of Legos.
With those
It's
kind
better
of
than,
stores.
It's better than a GameStop trade.
Yeah.
They'll
When
give you
you're-
$5 and they'll spit in your eye.
Yeah, when you're dealing
If you're
with a
lucky.
If you're
retail
lucky.
store like that, that's never going to be in your favor.
Sure.
But they sell them on consignment for like a year or so.
Mhm.
Or at least they had them for a year.
They had 'em for a
really
year,
don't know.
so-
I really don't know how many they actually sold.
Yeah, they did sell some though, and he was getting his payments, and everything was going good.
Mm-hmm.
They were posting about it on social media, and corporate was aware. And then all of a sudden, 2 guys from Bricks and Minifigs corporate come down, kick the franchise owner, out of the store and take over the store.
Yeah.
And there's video footage of them doing this, security cam footage of them doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and saying that I'm already getting in the weeds here, but the owner they're kicking out tells them about the consignment deal, and then the CEO on the phone just says, "We'll take that on." I guess allegedly.
Allegedly.
This is all couched in allegedly.
Yes. Especially when we get into the second half of this.
Yeah.
Which involves
The real spicy bit of it.
YouTubers.
Yeah. So the corporate people tell her that they're going to take on the consignment, get out of the store. It's our store now.
Yeah.
2 guys come in and start running it from Salt Lake. Joshua something and something else. Brandon Best.
Brandon Worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the payments stop getting to Brian. They stop paying him, and he comes back and says, "I want my Lego back."
Mm-hmm. And they do not
the money you owe me, and they said no.
Or we don't know what you're talking about.
Or we don't know what.
Yeah.
I forget what their first response
It was.
was.
We don't know what you're talking about, and then the second time it was like, no,
Yeah.
no, they're ours now.
So then
Yeah.
Brian gets in touch with a YouTuber called Reckless Ben,
Mm-hmm.
who is like kind of
An investigative, but
He's
also
one of those gotcha guys.
yeah. He's an investigative YouTuber, but also kind of a crap stirrer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. He
he's-
wants to be that Jost guy that did the
He's like if Mr. Beast worked for 60 Minutes.
oh sure. So no, the Jost guy, that was the completionist guy. Who investigative, whatever.
Oh, the guy that busted the completionist?
Yes. Yeah.
Or like that CoffeeZilla guy.
Oh yeah, CoffeeZilla.
Yeah.
That's a better one. Yeah. Anyway.
But he gets a hold of this YouTuber to help him, and that things go nuts from there.
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of legal stuff.
Yeah.
There's police involved.
There's collusion
multiple
with
times.
the police. There's
Yeah, it might not even like the whole thing might be supposedly as some kind of like conspiracy.
somehow the Mormons are involved.
Yeah.
This is all allegedly. But
It very much seems like the owners of Bricks and Minifigs are using the Utah American Forks Police Office
Mhm.
as their own stormtroopers.
basically,
allegedly.
so they can keep all those Legos and keep the money for themselves, essentially. And they shut down that store, didn't they?
Oh yeah. Well, Reckless Ben took them to small claims court
Mhm.
10 separate times with 10 separate people.
Yeah.
He came up with this scheme because you can only get so much money, more or less than what the Legos are worth through
Yeah.
small claims court. So he decided that, well, Brian is going to sell his Lego to 10 different people, and they're like his 10 friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then each 10 friend is this is hard.
Yeah, right?
Each of the 10 friends are going to independently small claims court sue Bricks and Minifigs for that.
not releasing the Legos that Brian sold to his friends.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah, you know what? That makes sense. I was a little confused about that as well.
And they served Bricks and Minifigs the papers for that. It went to court.
Mhm.
Bricks and Minifigs didn't show up because ostensibly they thought it was fake, probably. Which
or they just didn't care.
No,
Yeah.
in that Philip DeFranco thing we watched before the show, they thought it was fake. The cops basically told them, "Hey, you made this up."
Oh no, that was a completely different.
Oh, that was a different thing.
Different papers being served. This is a separate court case.
Oh my god.
This whole thing is a mess.
They took them
Wow.
to small claims court. Those 10 times, won all the cases because they didn't show up. So you get the judge
Default. You get the default judgment.
win.
Yeah.
So now Bricks and Minifigs owes them all this money from these court cases,
And they're not going to
that's
do
when-
anything with it.
That's when they close the store.
Yeah. Boy, this Brian and the YouTuber, they are really building quite the case. I've sat here for 5 minutes thinking about that. No,
I mean, they're a real stud.
this is nuts. This is
So after that, so to try and get that money after they close the store, that's when Reckless Ben
Oh.
tries to take the owners of the store to court.
Mhm.
And they go through this big rigmarole trying to serve papers to them where the store owners keep calling the police on him over and over.
And getting him for
Well,
trespass.
didn't they try
Yeah.
to arrest him 3 times in a row in one stop?
Yeah, for trying to serve papers because they were sitting out on the street trying to catch him when he came out of his house.
Was it trying to serve papers? There was a faulty drug charge. Where
Yeah.
they had to.
Yeah, there was a
they tore
faulty-
apart his car for 2 hours.
Yep, there was a faulty heroin possession charge.
They swatted his house.
Yeah.
Well, they swatted where he was staying. Not
Yeah.
necessarily his
They
house,
they swatted his Airbnb for stolen Legos.
which weren't there.
Which weren't there.
Yeah.
You know, I am 100% on the side of Brian. The YouTuber
YouTuber-
in inserting himself into this does seem just a hair bit
Scummy.
Yeah, it's a little stinky.
He
He does some things that's like you don't really have to be doing that.
let's see.
Yeah,
here.
Jordan and I have a phrase, me, and that's kind of like doing it for himself and promoting himself
it's
as
a lot
well as
like
doing it while doing it for the right thing. Yeah,
It's almost like ambulance chasing for lawyers.
yeah,
It
kind of.
feels
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
Because I tell you, when I hit that deer,
oh yeah,
I got a letter from some random lawyer from Columbus.
oh sure.
Like,
Do you
hey, we
wanna
heard you were in a car accident.
Do you want to sue this deer?
Pretty sure he's dead.
Oh
He's
yeah.
dead. You can sue his next of kin.
Listen, you'd only get a buck out of it.
Oh dear.
Thank you. I'll be here all night
Yeah, because you live here.
because I live here.
But this story is so wild.
It's so
we couldn't
wild,
not
and it's
talk
continuing.
about it.
It's still
It's
continuing.
such a
so-
evolving and such a
Right now, Reckless Ben is literally in Mexico because the American Forks Police Department put out a warrant for his arrest.
Yeah.
for being a physical threat.
There's no way on earth that kid was a physical threat
No.
to anyone.
No, he's like looks like he could blow away in the wind.
Yeah. He's a
He
string
almo-
bean.
He almost
Yeah.
looks
As
like
the- as
he
the
almost
people
looks
would
like one of
say.
them broccoli kids.
Yeah. Well, he kind of is. Like
Well,
he's that age.
Yeah.
He
but-
looks like a malnourished Logan Paul.
It kind of does. Yeah. But no, this story is wild and it's ongoing. So we're going to continue to cover it when
we can.
When we can. It's not going to be like an every week.
No, unless something big happens.
Yeah, he's got 3 different parts of his documentary Reckless Ben does. The third part isn't out yet. It's on his Patreon.
Oh, sure.
Oh, gross.
Which the second part was on his Patreon, but he did release that
Mm.
relatively
Who released
quick.
the third part?
Which
yeah.
I don't have a problem with early release on Patreon. You gotta
No,
get your
no,
bag
you
somehow.
You do have
yeah.
to make a few bucks. Yeah. It feels weird because you're doing this for altruistic reasons, and yet here you go, for dollars.
He
but
apparently tried to sell it to Netflix, he said, and they didn't want to touch it.
I am not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Hey, Netflix were the folks who did the Toys That Made Us. They are in big Lego's pocket.
I'm waiting for Lego
to step
comment,
in. Yeah.
because it doesn't really
Involve them.
because
No, because these are sets that have been discontinued for.
yeah, and Bricks and Minifigs is not a licensed
No,
reseller of
no.
Lego.
This would be like going to an FYE trying to consign all of your parents' DVDs, and then they just take them
Yeah,
and then all close.
Yeah.
Which is not too far from the truth.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
but like this is going to end up being a big enough deal.
It's going to be a big deal.
where Lego might have to say something.
Well,
I feel like this is reaching the point. This is going to hit national news.
it's going to break through the pop culture side, and it's going to become actual. Yeah, there's going to be normies that are going to be talking about this. Legal Eagle is going to be doing probably a huge.
You know what?
Video
And
on it
his
eventually.
video will be good.
Yeah.
His
Oh,
video
yeah.
will be good.
Yeah. Not to distract from that for a second. Did you guys watch the first episode of this season's Game Changer?
no,
No.
I need
It's
to.
they play a giant board game of Don't Wake Daddy, but it's called Don't Wake Standards and Practices. So they kept giving prompts to the 3 contestants, and they're walking around the board, and at the podiums are 3 actual lawyers. Legal Eagle is one of them.
Nice.
And when they try to say things and do things, the goal was to try to get as close to calling standards and practices without actually hitting standards and practices. Oh, it was hilarious. It was
I'll
hilarious.
have to watch it.
That
Yeah,
sounds like
really,
a good,
really
I
good.
mean, I do love me some Game Changer.
Yeah. But no, we're gonna follow on this Lego thing. Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't fall to pieces.
It's wild.
Ah!
It's I haven't been able. I can't get enough of my Lego gossip. Like
I follow a few Lego people on the Instagram, and you know what? I think I've seen like vague posting about it. Probably because they don't want to get targeted or
I know
whatever.
I'm not shopping at a Bricks and Minifigs ever.
No?
Oh no!
I didn't
no.
know it was such a big thing until I saw
didn't-
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
think
didn't
so
either. I didn't either.
Yeah.
I thought they were just if I would have saw one, I would have assumed it was just like a
private
local private. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a huge franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like you're what do they call that? Troll and Toad. They're a board game reseller for like card games. And stuff
Oh,
like that.
sure. Yeah.
They always like have a giant booth at like Origins and Gen Con. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I think everything else is pretty quick. I think we can fight through. How much time we got?
Pick what is an. You know what? Last thing. This is very, very quick. Tom Holland has said that he is ready for someone else. He's ready for Miles Morales to come into the MCU so Spider-Man Peter Parker can swing into the sunset.
Well, in true fashion, if they really want to do it right, they'll kill him, and then Miles gets to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then it'll come back later.
Yeah,
Come
and then,
back
and
later.
then Secret Wars will happen.
And he'll need a few bucks and he'll come back.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
I think this is fine. I
I'm
think he's
fine
had
with
his
it.
chance.
You know what?
yeah. He's done the most of any actor who has played the character.
And
Yeah.
he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's my
Spider-Man.
favorite live action
He's the
Spider-Man.
closest to and you know what? Actors should be allowed to say, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to do movies in perpetuity forever just because they are a comic book character or a popular pop culture character.
Or just a popular actor in general.
They shouldn't get locked into it
Ever.
forever. Yeah.
I felt like the last movie was such a good capper on his
They should have
story.
just ended there.
Yeah, it could have been just done there. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll still go see this new movie.
Oh,
because
sure. Yeah. But
Spider-Man's good.
they didn't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you know what? Bring on Miles Morales. Bring on Spider-Gwen. Put
Ooh.
Silk in there. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but Silk's a whole different can of worms.
Silk's a whole different thing. True. But you know what? I don't like the multiverse stuff, but bring you know what? At the end of Across the Spider-Verse or Return of the Spider-Verse or whatever, the last animated one,
Which is coming.
Someday.
have that
No,
Miles,
it's actually in production.
yeah.
Yeah, someday.
Have Miles swing through a portal, and now he's live action, and here he is in the actual MCU. So they don't have to have a movie setting him up when everybody already knows
Yeah.
how it goes.
But I don't want
And-
that voice actor to be the
No, he
live
doesn't
action
have to be.
Miles.
He doesn't have to be. They could just go, oh, he swung through, and the portal made his voice
Yeah,
different.
this is the way he looks in this dimension.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
sounds.
So yeah.
Sorry, you said that, and I'm just thinking of that scene from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness when they're going through all the different dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like the one like Lego dimension and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, there is a precedent for a live action person in the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse things because Donald Glover was there as the live action Prowler
Yep.
who
Yeah.
was set up in the MCU kinda. So there is a precedent for it. So
That was the.
Was he set up in the MCU?
he was
Yeah.
in the first Spider-Man
he even
movie.
mentions his like nephew or something.
Yeah, he
like-
mentions him. Yeah. Like, hey, Spider-Man, watch out for my nephew. My nephew thinks you're cool, so I'm going to do
Oh,
this.
is he the guy that was selling guns out of his trunk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was
Okay.
Hobie Brown.
Okay.
Or, no, not Hobie Brown. Whatever his name.
Yeah, the
The
Prowler.
Prowler.
The Prowler. He was the Prowler.
John Prowlerman.
Yes, that's it. That's the one. Yep. All right, so we have actually hit time. Thank you very much for tuning in to Nerd Overload. You can find us each and every day over at nerdoverload.com.
If you have a news story you want us to cover or you want to put your 2 cents in, you can send us an email at staff@nerdoverload.com.
Even 3 cents.
Yeah.
Give us 3 cents.
On the wings of an angel.
Oh, no.
Look real
No.
sad in the camera.
Don't send us any like legal stuff about this Lego thing. Everything we said was alleged.
Allegedly.
And also, we're not legal experts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing we've said constitutes legal advice.
No. Yes. Thank you.
But if you want to give us a call for any reason, give us a call at 412-345-1413 and leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show.
You know what? If you're a lawyer and if you want to get your, unofficial advice on it.
Yeah.
Or maybe your take on it.
Yeah,
You can give
absolutely.
a shout out to like your practice or whatever they call it.
Sure.
Do they call it a lawyer practice?
Yes, it's a
It's a
practice.
practice.
Firm.
Yes.
It's a firm.
Well,
Law
a
firm.
It's still a law practice.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You can find all of our back episodes on various podcast apps, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where all of our videos go up.
Subscribe to the YouTube.
Do it. And also Twitch. We're on Twitch on Mondays.
Every time we make one of these.
Every time we make one of these. We've had a couple of weeks off, but that's okay. We're back.
All of my lawyer knowledge comes from Phoenix Wright, which is not good.
All of mine comes from the second half of every episode of Law and Order.
Dun dun.
Dun dun.
I was going to say Columbo.
Columbo.
Columbo? Yeah. Oh, what's...
Just one more thing.
No, Columbo's a detective. You know what? Perry Mason.
Matlock is a lawyer, right?
Yes, Matlock, yes. Andy Griffith was a lawyer in Matlock.
Yep. All right, and finally, I'd like to thank Parker for helping us out finding news for the show, and David Pencil for our intro and outro. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will be back next week.
Every time I see Perry Mason, I want to sing it like
the Aussie song?
Like the Aussie song, Mr. Crowley, Perry Mason.
Dun, dun, dun.
Somebody probably made that. I probably saw that somewhere.
I'm sure.
I don't know.
It's a Weird Al light.
Yeah.
Okay, so the audio podcast is done. We're still on video. Still on video.
He did a song called Perry Mason.
Did he?
Yes.
We're gonna you know what? We're looking that one up.
It's on his first solo album.
Like the original? Like his actual? Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I love Perry Mason. That show's great.
He has a song called Perry Mason.
That's awesome.
But he also had a song about Aleister Crowley, too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Crowley.
Bum,
It's actually pronounced Crowley.
Perry Mason. Weird Al Yankovic doesn't have a parody song or a music video titled Perry Mason. However,
No, he was saying Ozzy.
Ozzy does?
Yeah.
Huh.
They said it was Ozzy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't hear that one right. Osborne, Perry Mason. Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely does. Wow, I had zero idea. I had no idea that existed. That is really awesome. Perry. Yes, thank you, retired breadman, Perry Mason.
Perry Mason.
He just goes Perry Mason.
Perry Mason.
Thanks, Greg.
Your Honor. Hamilton Berger, I'm going to embarrass you in front of the court every week. I win every time. Oh, yes. All right. So, do we have anything else for the show here this evening before we wrap up?
The Kathy Bates Matlock is good.
It is good. Yeah. I've seen a couple episodes of that.
I have also seen like 3 or 4, and it's good. It's a good show.
All right. You know what else is good? They've stopped it, but the Quantum Leap.
The new one.
The new one.
With the Asian guy.
Yeah, because it's not a reboot; it's a continuation.
Yeah, he's looking. He's looking for Dr. Beckett.
He's looking for Dr. Beckett. Yeah, and Ernie Hudson is there. It's Ernie Hudson.
Yeah, that was on.
I forgot to talk about The Bride.
Oh,
I watched The Bride.
Save it for next week because that has to be on the show. Save it for next week.
The Bride.
The Bride.
Yeah.
Maggie Gyllenhaal's Bride of Frankenstein movie.
Oh yeah, where they're like party.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I have feelings.
Oh really? Okay.
About that, so we will save it for
Gotta
next
save
week.
it for next week.
Did you ever watch Lisa Frankenstein?
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Okay,
I like that a lot.
It's pretty good.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess if we don't have anything else, we should
It's time to
probably
go!
end the show so that we can go to the grocery or dinner or what have you. Take a nap.
I will say about The Bride,
Yes.
I've never seen a movie take so many big swings and whiff every single one.
Really? Oh, that's a good. You know what? That's a great teaser. That's a great teaser.
That's
for
a nice
next
little
week.
stinger.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So again,
Suspense.
hey, we'll be back on next Monday. We absolutely will be back next Monday.
Because we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk
Got
about.
a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a bunch.
Jeffy Game Fest.
Yeah,
is
it's
on.
Jeffy Game
It's
Fest.
like all the news is happening in the middle of this week. Like
Was it
tomorrow, a bunch of stuff is
Was
hitting.
Friday Jeffy Game Fest?
I think Friday is Jeffy Game Tomorrow
I wonder
is
what
something.
time. I
Tomorrow's
wonder
the
if we
State
could.
of Play.
Is
could
the
we-
Sony State of Play.
Could we stream it?
One of you guys is going to have to do it because if it's this weekend, I will not be in town, and if
that's right.
and Tuesday, if it's tomorrow, I will be asleep. Hopefully,
and I'll probably be at work.
Well, yeah. So, but yeah, no. Next week I'll be talking about the con. There's going to be game stuff, and we have almost a full board of things that we didn't talk about that may or may not still be relevant by next week. All right, we're rambling, so
we gotta go.
We gotta go. All right.
You probably have to ask in advance stream summary best.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We can just talk about it.
Yeah, we can
like
just
we
talk
always
about
do.
It. You know what? We can put
world premiere.
We can just do the video with no audio, and we can just kind of talk over top of it.
Yeah.
It's like this is the part where Jeff said
kisses
something
a mother Muppet.
Kind of says something embarrassing to Kojima, and this is the part where.
This is the part where they tell you that one person and 10 of his best friends made this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So point at the camera. Thumbs up the camera. All right. We'll see you next week.